What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's not every day that you get to work on a car project or something and get to see it come to fruition and all that in your life, but also sometimes things happen to where you not only get to see it brought back to life, fixed up, repaired, you know, like my first YouTube project, which was a 2004 Ford Ranger, but sometimes you also see it inevitably succumb to traffic. Things happen. Everyone appears to be okay, and we're waiting on my family here to show up so we can go pick it up. But had my first YouTube car project, the Ford Ranger, was in a auto accident. So not only did we get it from an accident, fix it, brought it back to life on the channel, now it's actually been destroyed again. But we're gonna go over some of the damage today and see what it looks like when we get it home and get it off the trailer and see if it's worth fixing again. If not, we might just fix it up and it'd be a little yard putt around kind of thing, you know, and just maybe it's time to retire it. We'll find out, but I'll take you guys with me. This is what pains me, is to have spent so much time fixing this and working on it, to have it basically totaled again. And it's so sad because we brought it back to life, spent a fair amount of money on it. That's not the most important part, but it's that we got it from its wrecked position back to a living, functioning vehicle with less than 100,000 miles. To have somebody pull out in front of you and just basically undo everything that you did is just, it's a major blow. But just like all things on this channel, it's fixable, so we can take care of it. Why? Alright guys, it actually, I think, survived fairly well given the accident. So here's the bumper bracket, that'll need to be replaced, but as far as the actual frame rail, it still seems to be square. I know the cameras aren't really doing it justice because it's kind of a fisheye, but it looks pretty square. Except for, now I'm looking at this side's protruding more than this side. So when we got this fixed before at the frame shop, the best way I can describe this, I'm gonna try to use two hands here. Imagine two frame rails of a truck, like this. Here's the meeting point, like where the transmission is. Well, it was like this. One was slightly ahead of the other, and they call it dog walking. So the rear axle is attached left to right. And when it does that, it'll put one tire further back, one further ahead. And that's when you see where a truck, when you're driving straight behind it, kind of looks like it's strafing
driving forward just like that, kind of sideways. That's what they described it as. So that may have happened again. If that's the case, we'll take it to the frame shop and get their opinion, but if that's the case, then we may end up having to just get a new frame. Yeah, I mean, if we decide to fix it, but still, it's low miles. Such low miles. It's like, it really would be a shame at this point to let this thing go, but I'm gonna dig into this further. We're gonna end up taking this apart. I for sure can tell that it's gonna need a radiator support all the ways across, probably top and bottom. And it looks like this apron right here is really crunched. Other than that, so I'll have some welds. We'll have to drill it out, put in a new one, paint it, weld it in. Not a big deal. We're gonna have a certain amount of ABS stuff probably needs to be replaced. The other thing is this battery did get smashed, and I gotta wash my hands really good. That's all battery acid that's been draining there for quite a while. I mean, anything's fixable, especially if you get it at a good enough price. It's just up to you if you want to put the labor into it. I think this is still worth it. The low miles that are on this engine and transmission and rear differential, I think are worth it. But we're gonna see. We're gonna evaluate it and kind of just go from there.
There's some of the big extent of the damage was really the driver's side. So that inner apron that got crunched, so that it'd have to be drilled out, welded back in, and hopefully one of the easiest things you can do is find one at like LKQ or something that happens to be red, so it kind of matches, and then all we have to do is some light paint cover in the places they end up tack welding it back. So that inner apron's got to be replaced, the radiator support. And it did look like it pulled a little bit on the inside. There's a little bit of a kink right here, and it kinked up on the fender, so probably replace the fender, the upper radiator support, inner apron, outer fender, door, blah blah. But might be able to dolly that out some, and then definitely the inner apron on this side. We'll have to see how the extent is. I think it really was just right here. It kind of pulled as this came and crunched in. It just pulled it a little bit, so I think that should be fixable. But I do believe the motor is probably in good shape. Doesn't look like it got crunched. I mean, I'm sure the serpentine belt, the AC belt, all that's gonna need to be replaced, but it doesn't look like it touched the motor. With mounting tabs and ears on the bosses on the motor, make sure they're still good. The only real negative is that the battery did get crunched and it's been leaking acid everywhere in here. Funny story is the day before this had an accident, literally probably 12 hours before I had an accident, brand new oil change. So at least when it's been sitting, you know, at the insurance auto auction stuff, we're waiting to get it back from it, had fresh clean oil inside of it. So that's one upside. It's this, I'm not kidding. I just got the battery out and pull the dipstick. So I'm gonna do this one-handed. Look at that. It's beautiful, fresh, clean oil in this. Yeah, I did it. It's just before. Alright, getting to go over this damage a little more in depth. And yeah, somehow I knew that these are off the frame rails. Hard to see because I'm gonna cast a shadow, but basically this one's further in, this one's further out. Even though this is where the impact was, you think it would push in. So what happened on that other side years ago, when we first fixed this, is it fell into a creek, and that front passenger tire over here basically hard cocked out, busted off the upper ball joint, and the tire, because it was no longer in the suspension system, it was free range, turned real hard and then landed and pushed like that into the frame rail. Pinched it pretty good, put basically a fist in it. Now this time, driver's side impact, heavy on the front end, basically did the exact same thing, just here. So that's a kink, pushed all the ways in, and that's where the paint chipped off. My God, what is happening to this truck? Alright guys, that's probably going to be it for today's video. If you've to enjoy watching me take this apart and want to see how we end up fixing it in the future, because we're going to make a decision on it real quick, consider hitting subscribe and sticking around. If you'd like to watch the old series where we fixed it before, where it was on this side, that series is somewhere on the screen now. But thank you guys so much for the love and support. We'll catch you guys in the next one.